Hi, and welcome to the Passionate Spinner podcast. This is a bonus episode for how I divide fiber from different braids to get one even looking sweater quantity in the end. I brought a sweater to show to you what I'm talking about. This is the Central Park hoodie without a hoodie, but it's the basic pattern. I knit this for myself, I think 2 years ago, and the sweater yarn is hand spun by me, of course, because this is what this is about. And I used, I think, 8 totally different braids of fiber, and I um, managed to get a look like it's supposed to look like this. So this is what we're going for. That's a sweater that's finished. I'm gonna put it somewhere. I also brought a sweater quantity of fiber that I spun up and have not knit yet. It looks like this in the box. I'm gonna take out some skeins. It's my green-brown sweater quantity, and it's my favorite, and I really should get going. I'm gonna show you some skeins of yarn. Those are 4 skeins here. I have 3 more. Again, I used, I think, 7 very different braids of fiber. Of course, they were all green and brown in some sorts, but they were not from one dye lot from one dyer. They were all different. But in the end, you just can't notice that. So this is what we're going for here. I'm gonna put that away as well. And I'm going to show you the fiber that I decided to use for this. And then I'm gonna have to move the camera so you can see not my face, but my hands and what I'm doing. So this will go back here as well. Now, for the fiber. I'm gonna take them out now because I'm gonna use them. The first braid that I'm using is from Four Rivers Yarn and Fiber. It's a mixed BFL and silk. I'm going for pink and green. So that's braid number 1. The second braid is another BFL. It's a superwash BFL. It's from a German indie dyer from, yeah, it's not really showable. Her shop's name is Adoptivwolle. It's like yarn for adoption. And it looks like this. It's a superwash PFL. Now, next up, I have a braid of superwash BFL and bamboo. It's from Yummy Yarns. It looks like this. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be awesome. So, this braid. It's the third one. And I'm going to put all the tags in here later so I know what I had. And this is just, it's sticky, so I cannot remove it easily. Now, I'm not sure if I have to use this because I'm already at 300 grams and this here is 260. So this is my backup skein. Let's go for the other ones first. I think I will not need this. I'm absolutely not going to need this because this here is 2 braids of the same fiber and I will use those absolutely. They are another BFL and it's an oatmeal BFL. It's not a white, but a oatmeal colored BFL. It's the base. It looks like this. It's a bit darker, but it's green and pinks again. It's from Dye Spin Knit UK. And like I said, there's 2. So that makes 5 braids. Yeah. And I have 2 more. So this one here is by Pick Perfect. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry. Looks like this. It's another blue-faced Lister because I love BFL. And there's some blues in here. So a shade of color that we have not had before. And the last braid is from Friends in Fiber. And I have to try to get the sticker off because I want to keep all of them in one bag. I'm gonna put it on the other bag. So, Friends in Fiber, it's a BFL silk. So this is gonna be the BFL sweater spin, which is awesome. I did not check for, you know, an all BFL. I just went for color. I don't care if it's totally mixed up fiber. So this is the last one for this sweater spin. Like I said, it's a total coincidence that all of these are BFL. I've spun sweater quantities with different braids of fiber that were totally different fibers, you know, with alpaca and silk and merino and just everything. And I don't care because I like it that way. So all the empty bags go in here. I will keep this one next to me. This one here, this braid, my backup braid, I will not put in because I already have 7 braids of fiber here. And if I put this one in, I will have over a kilo. And, you know, I'm not a size XS, but I don't need over a kilo of handspun to knit a sweater for myself. So that's a skein of Melino Liesel. She's one of my favorite indies and she stopped dyeing. So this is very, very special now. And it will just go back into my stash. Or for now, back into this bag. Now I'm going to move the camera so you can see all the braids laying around, and then we'll get started on dividing and mixing. Sorry for the mess. So I hope this will work. New camera, you know, and this cable is not cooperating. I'm very sorry. So can you see the table now? No, of course you can. Now you can't. Is that going to work? Or is it better if I put it here? Better? Of course you can't answer because you are not here. So we just have to do it. Okay, now you see all the braids of fiber. I'm gonna lay them out just to look at once more. So you can see they all have an overall theme of pink and green, but they are not the same at all, except for those two, of course. But everything else is very different. But that will, you know, not be obvious in the end. So I'm gonna take off all the tags first and put them aside. I will put those in my little bag that I have here so that I will know in the end what I used for when I write down my important stuff. So all the tags in the little bag. In this little bag, I will try to make it lay as flat as possible because this one here will go into the, I will use this bag. It's a nice large bag. It will hold the whole sweater quantity in the end. So this is just gonna go in here first and I will use this later. Now I have to try to make those cables disappear a little bit. Is that working? Okay. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I really do. So I'm gonna use one braid first. I'm gonna put all the other braids here on my chair because I'm not gonna be able to sit down. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna open it up. And oh, it's a real braided one. I really dislike this. If you are an indie dyer, please do not braid your fiber like this. It drives me crazy. Because it takes forever to take apart. And yeah. So you unbraid your fibers. Fibers, is that a word that you use or is it fiber? No, I don't know. Just unbraid the braids. And I will rip this in 8 pieces, I think. Very interesting, right? Watching me take apart these things here or screwing it up. Now, this is annoying. Did I mention that I really hate those real braided braids? So, now, I've taken it all apart. One braid of fiber. Now, I'm holding the two ends together and just pull it through my hands like this. Determine that this must be the middle, so I'm gonna rip it apart here. Now I have 2. I'm gonna go for 8. So I'm just gonna divide my parts again. 1. So now there's 2 pieces. 4. And if you're pulling fiber apart, if you're doing this for the very first time, you have to have your hands fairly wide spread apart from each other, because this is a BFL silk, so the silk fiber is very long, and if you just, you know, hold the fiber with both hands, one fiber strand, you will not be able to pull it apart. I'm going to show to you. If I hold it here, there's just no way for me to pull this apart, so I have to take my hands away from each other and it works. So now I have 8 pieces of this fiber. They're all that long. What you want to know if you want to do a mixed sweater quantity like this, you have to be comfortable with adding on new fiber when you spin. So now I take all of these and divide them like this. And I think I'm going to do it just once. So let's do it again. Find the middle, put your fingers in and just pull apart. That makes for 16 pieces for each braid of fiber. I'm going to do this with all the fibers. And as I have no idea how to stop this video and add to it, because I don't do editing, because I don't know how, and I rather spend the time that it would take for me to find out knitting or spinning. So you will have to watch me do this over and over until all of the braids are divided. I'm just going to put all of this fiber over here in one stack. So now that one's done. I'm going to take out the next one, which is this one here, and do the same thing just all over again. And I really hope this is not braided. Is it? No. Yes, no, wrong side. If it's not braided, but you know, like the chain stitch with crochet, you know, if it's like that, you can just pull. Now, once again, look for the middle and pull it apart. If it's not going to go apart, you just have to take your hands out further. So I'm gonna make this a little bit faster because I showed it already how to do it. I'm gonna start the next stack of fiber over here. And of course, this is not like a scientific thing. You don't have to do your sweater quantities like this if you're going to do a combo spin. It's just how I do it. I like how I'm doing this because it gives me a, like it's meant to be, overall look in the end. And yeah, I just like doing it because I have so many single braids in my stash. I do have some small sweater quantities, you know, not small quantities, but just some, not a lot. And there's just so many hats and mittens I can knit with my handspun or shawls. So I like to mix it up, just go through my stash, find all the braids that have the same color theme and put them together in a sweater quantity. So braid number 2 is done. Now let's go for braid number 3. What's that? That's a bit weird. Okay. This is... I don't know how this happened here, but I almost managed to get a knot in my fiber. So I'm just doing the same thing over and over, you know, find the middle, rip it apart one more time. And this is a way shorter piece of fiber. So I've ripped it in 4 pieces now, not 8, and it's about the same length as the others are. So I'm just going to leave it at that and divide it down in 3, not 2. So I'm going to take this once and another time. So I have 3 small pieces of fiber. And as you can see, I'm still trying to keep them separate when I put them over here. I'm gonna take the camera and show all the divided fiber when I'm done with all the braids, because then you can see what I'm talking about better. So next up is this one here, the one with a little bit of blue in it. Let's see which side it... Oh, it's another braided one. Oh, how I hate that. Especially when I'm doing a sweater quantity, because I want to get going and I just need to unbraid this, and it's... I don't like it. And I don't quite understand why people do it, because it just takes so much longer than chaining them. And I know that this is not the best tutorial you will ever get on the internet for stuff like this, but it's what I'm able to do right now. So you have to deal with this. And yeah, almost done with unbraiding. So if you are in India and you braid your fiber like this, let me know why you do it, because it just takes forever to do, I think. Especially if I compare it to, you know, doing it as a chain, crochet chain instead. So this one is significantly longer again as the last one, so I will just rip it apart in my 8 pieces, if it will be. Yes. So normally I do this on the floor because it just gives me more space to work with. But as I wanted to film a tutorial for this, that just was easier to do it like this on the table. So there's only 3 more to go. So we're halfway done. This is gonna take some time to watch, and I'm sorry, because like I said, I just don't know how to edit and just have it all be here in a second. It's not working. And like I said, I'm not going to learn how to edit, because that time that it will take me to learn it and then to do it, it's just I rather knit. So Now, the Friends and Fiber braid, this one here. See? Chains. They are great because they go apart easily. This one smells very vinegary. Ugh. But it is very floofy, which is good because that normally means that it's easy to spin. And as it's BFL, it's gonna be easy to spin overall because BFL is great to spin. So I really don't know what to talk about anymore. I think I talked about all the science that goes into this at length. So I'll just have to watch, and I hope you won't fall asleep while watching. If so, just come back in about 5 minutes. Or should wake up in about 5 minutes because that is when it's gonna get interesting again. The only thing left now to divide is the fiber where I have 2 braids off. So, and you don't have to do those sweater combos with fiber that's, you know, kind of in the same colors. I'm working on a sweater spin out of my Into the World club fiber, and it's nothing alike. It's very different. It's just totally not. Oh, it's braided. I hate it. It's I used 8 totally different braids of fiber for that one. So I'm gonna have to walk over here because my table is running out of space, and I have to unbraid this one here again. And I have to unbraid another one because there are 2 of those. Why? Is it just because they look a little bit prettier when they're braided up? I don't understand. So here I am again, looking for the middle. Okay, to put it away. So these are gonna be a little bit shorter. That's fine. Now pull it apart. You don't have to pull it apart, of course. You don't have to do anything, of course. It's, you know, it's spinning. You do whatever you want. But I pull them apart because I think it's easier for me to spin it, the fiber on my wheels when it's, you know, a little bit thinner to begin with. And also for those mixed combo spins, I just think that the fiber is gonna be mixed better in the end. So that's why I do this. You don't want to do it, you don't do it. So, can you see the crimp in this BFL? It's gorgeous. I'm almost done. There's only 1 braid and this little chunk of fiber here left to divide. And then we'll start the mixing. Last braid. And I'm, of course, not going to be able to do it on the table because the table's packed and this has to be unbraided. So I'm trying to be quick with this. You bored yet? Or is it, can you suffer through? I'm doing my best to be as quick as I can. I'm sorry if it's taking longer than you'd expected. So, almost done. Just a half braid left to divide now. And you don't have to stress about hitting, you know, exact the middle with dividing on any side, you know, not in this side and not when you're dividing it like this, just roughly. We go for roughly. So I'm done dividing. Now I will hold up the camera, so I'm sorry if it's a bit shaky. This is where we are. That's the 2 braids of BFL. Can you see it? So this is what we have. And now we will mix it up. So I'm just gonna use this bag, like I said before, it's nice and big. I'm gonna put it behind me on my chair. And now the super duper method of mixing it, I just pull pieces from wherever I want. Now I have all of this in my hands. It's 6 or 7 different pieces of fiber, and I will put this in the bag. And now I'll just do it all over again. See? It's mixed up. It's gonna go in the bag. And I'm gonna do this until I'm out of fiber, basically. And I really try not to do it in the same directions all the time, you know, just picking the pieces differently. And as you can see already, it looks like it's from one braid of fiber. So not 2 of this. It's starting to get a bit it looks like it's, you know, like a blizzard went through, but that's okay. I'm just gonna pull like little quantities like this, put them in the bag. So, and I'm gonna do this until I have no fiber left here on the table. And that is basically how I am mixing my sweater quantities. So, and when I'm spinning, I just pull my head in the bag and grab whatever I can and start spinning. See? Very different braids of fiber. One look like it's, you know, supposed to look like that, and it's not at all, because like I said, it's very different braids of fiber. You watched me all take it apart, and I really hope you can hear me talk when I am further away from the microphone of the camera, because I just have to walk around. There's just no way around that. So, oops, lost one. Put it in here. I will show you a peek in the back when I'm done here. So that's it. I'm done with mixing my next sweater quantity. I will try to have you look into here. I'm gonna grab the cabro once more or no, I'm gonna try to do it like this. Is that working? So this is how my sweaters are mixed. And now I'm just gonna start spinning with the first thing that I can grab and continue grabbing and spinning until all of that's gone. So let's try to put you back somewhere where you can see me. Will this be working? Is this working? I'm gonna hold you up. So that's okay. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope I can help you in any way with this. I know I'm not good at tutorials, and there won't be a lot of tutorials from me because there are a ton of tutorials out, but I hope you can use it, and if not, I'm sorry, but it's what it is. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy everything you do and have fun spinning your sweaters.